will change bones and the fur. The whole covered is looking at her.
Hi, hello, and welcome. Sorry it has been a little while, but that's because I've been working on this super special project for you guys. So I want to share that here with you. Let's just clean up this mess. That's a little bit better. So now that we have my super special project right here, front and center, I'm really excited to show this to you guys. So this is a goddess from my Shadow Goddess deck. I have another video where I mentioned this deck, but I will go ahead and share it here and also link that video so you guys can see it. But I made these oracle cards that help with shadow work. And this is one of the cards. This is the first card. That's Raven. She is the most popular one, and that's why I chose her as my design for this sketchbook. But yes, that is what we created here, is a sketchbook. So I wanted to incorporate a way where I can still hold on to my shadow goddesses because I love them and they're such a big part of me, but also where I can bring it into my artwork a little bit more because I want to share more of that with you as well. So to segue that over, I took one of the goddesses and moved her over onto this sketchbook. And I thought that was a really good way to incorporate the two different sides. So let's go ahead and take a look at it here. So I went ahead and customized a Denik sketchbook. This is a very nice, good quality sketchbook. They have really good paper. It is smooth, it is soft, and I will show you here the compatibility it has with different textures and supplies as well. So, but you can see here on the spine, there isn't a whole lot, just a few of the stars and stuff from the front design, and then the Denik emblem over here on this side. And then the back here, I wrote a special message for you guys where it says, "Become a goddess of your shadows." Ew, there's stuff on it already. Excuse that. And a special little message here with my emblem, Anchora rose, as well as the Denik logo again. So you can go ahead and pause it to take a look at this message if you would like, or you can wait and take a look at it at a later time. But right here, as you can see, a gold block, because I wanted you to fill in that blank with whatever your heart desires. So it can be your inner gold, it can be your inner self, your inner beauty, your inner soul, whatever you want your desire to be, because I want this book to be all about expressing your own thoughts. So let's take a look inside. Oh, I love the sound of the crinkling paper like that. Oh, let's move that out of the way. To open it up here is just white, it is flat. It is a lay flat design, but it doesn't lay as flat on the first little bit because of the hardcover. This is a hardcover sketchbook. So, and then I chose this size because I wanted it to be small enough for you to carry around, but still big enough that it's usable. So not like a pocket sack kind of a thing in between. So here's the paper here, as you can feel. You can't see the grain. It's very smooth, has a really nice texture to it. Denik is very comparable to moleskin. If you've ever used moleskin sketchbooks, it's comparable as in the paper is just as smooth, but a little bit thicker. So I like that because it still gives you that nice surface without being too thin. I find that moleskin sketchbooks are a little too thin sometimes. So the only thing you can really use on them is pencils or pens. So markers don't work as well. So I want to go ahead and give this a test run and let's see how compatible it is with certain supplies. Now, I'm not much of a traditional artist. I will be upfront about that. A lot of my work is usually digital. So I don't have as many traditional supplies as most artists might, but I will test the ones that I have and the ones that I do use. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, my favorite pencil of choice is the Graph Gear 500 and the 0.5 Pentel. And I like this because it has a lot of weight to the tip of it. So I find that it is easier to control. Just because I like to have weighted pencils. If they're too light, I feel like my hand gets a little too crazy. So, and then I don't actually use the eraser on here. I have a separate eraser that I use. This is just the one that comes with it, which gets used sometimes when I can't find my other eraser. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So This is my pencil of choice because it's the one that I like sketching, and 0.5 helps a lot with different layers or smaller details and layering and stuff, so you can go from light to dark really easy. So the pencil works really well. It's super smooth. I like it. It feels nice. I don't know if you can see what I'm drawing there. Can you see the red? Perfect. Okay, so that is super rough. We're gonna take it. I would say that it's really good with pencils. Now, next we have here is a Sharpie. Now, Sharpies are pretty notorious for bleeding through. Let's go ahead and take a look here and see if it's gonna bleed through to the other side of the paper. I'm gonna use this to outline. Wow, that is some thick line art. That reminds me of anime. Give this video a big thumbs up if you started your art journey with anime. Wow. Move her neck a little bit. So far, so good. It feels nice, as if you're kind of drawing on paper, or like paper. Obviously, you're drawing on paper. It kind of feels like printer paper when you're drawing on it, but I would say that the thickness of it though is different. Let's give her some shoulders. There we go. Cool, not too shabby. Well, let's take a look at it here and see. Okay, so you can definitely see that on the other side, but it did not bleed onto here. So it passed, as in it's not going to bleed onto your next paper, but it failed because you can still see it through the other side. So if that doesn't bother you, then I would say Sharpies are pretty good for this book. If that does bother you, then I would stay away from Sharpies. Now let's go ahead and test out some other supplies. So we have this Tombow water-based pencil, not pencil, but water-based marker. Now these are my favorite for sketchbooks because since they're water-based, they usually don't bleed through to the other side. But let's go ahead and do a few swatches here just to see how this paper reacts to it. It's blending really nicely. It's not tearing up the paper. Sometimes the problem I have with these is it tears up the paper if it doesn't have a good enough texture to it. Or sometimes I press too hard. There's also another problem. Cool. Yeah, so no bleed through on that. It looks perfect. You won't see it on the other side. Try not to get too close to the Sharpie because that stuff bleeds. Cool. And that is also a Tombow water-based pen. Let's take a look on the other side here. And as you can see, the Tombows don't bleed through, but you can definitely still see that Sharpie. Now, the big test is Copic. They're alcohol-based, so they're a little bit thicker, more opaque. Or I don't even know what I'm trying to describe here. Well, let's just go ahead and take a few swatches. It's blending really well on the surface. You can see I'm going over it. It's a little splotchy But honestly, really not even that bad. So you can just go over those thin parts and that blends in really nicely. Let's take a look on this other side. Okay. Oh, yep, that bled through really bad. You can definitely see it on the other side, and then you can also see it here too. So I definitely would not recommend Copic markers in this sketchbook, which is unfortunate. On my next sketchbook design, I think I will try to do better if I make another one. I'm still debating that. But it is hard to find, honestly, hard to find a sketchbook where Copic isn't going to go through to the other side. And let's go ahead and do a comparison. So I bought one of the sketchbooks that Bailey J just recently created. Hope you can see some of my work here. Let's just skip this stuff. Okay, cool. So let's take this one for example. This is a picture that I was working on a couple weeks ago. And we're just going to take some Copic in here and color in her skin a little bit. This will also be a really good comparison on how it does compare to other sketchbooks on the market. It's okay to be messy with your sketchbooks, guys. Now, I will say the paper texture on my sketchbook here does feel a lot smoother than Bailey's. So if texture is something that bothers me when you're drawing, I would keep that in mind. Let's take a look on the other side. So you can see it didn't bleed through as much. It is kind of noticeable, just like on this one, but it didn't bleed through on the other side. So hers is better with Copics. So my sketchbook failed there, unfortunately. All right, let's go ahead and test a couple of other things. So I have these Ninny Pie markers that I used in another video. I'll go ahead and link that here below, but they're more like a highlighter slash pen with this double tip here. And the problem I had with my other sketchbook when I was using it is ripping up the paper really badly. So it looks like we're getting a little bit of curl up on that paper, but not as much as my other sketchbook. And then we can use the pen, and that one's doing really nice. It feels similar to that pen. And let's go and check the other side. Cool, so you can't see it. So overall, I would say it is a pretty good sketchbook. Now, I've heard a lot of really good things about Denik, and that's why I wanted to customize a few of them myself and see how it works out and see what's going on. Just because a lot of professionals really love this sketchbook in regards to sketching, and I would agree. It feels really nice underneath my pencil. It's really smooth, equivalent to like printer paper, but slightly thicker. And it just feels really, really good when you're sketching. And the really important thing to remember is when you're sketching is you don't want a lot of paper texture, because then it catches onto your pencil, especially if you're using fine tips like a 0.5. And then that will create it to catch, and then you won't get as smooth of lines. And it's a little bit harder to draw out your ideas as well, because it keeps catching and it becomes frustrating and so on. So as far as sketching goes, I would say yes, this is a really good quality sketchbook, but that is exactly where I would stop it, because I find that it's not as compatible with markers. As you can see, the Sharpie went through and the Copic marker bled through awfully. Like, that's the worst Copic marker bleed I have seen in years. As equivalent to, again, printer paper. It seems a lot like printer paper to me. So I only purchased a few of these and I'm going to list them up on my shop and they are listed down below. It is, again, a really good sketchbook. I would definitely recommend it for sketching, or if you like making bullet journals, it would be perfect for that because it does really well with these highlighters and with the fine tip pens, as you see here. And you can even get some of these water-based Tombos, which are not really expensive at all. And then you can use those for your bullet journals, or if you want to use water-based inks, this is a really good sketchbook for that as well. And I also really like the compact size of it. This size is perfect for throwing into a backpack, and I bet it would even fit into my purse, and I don't like carrying around a very large purse either. So, and then I chose Raven, again, because she's the most popular and she's also my favorite design. She's my favorite character out of all of the ones that I have created. I just really love her silhouette and her position here, and I love how she's looking straight at you with the moon in the background. So that's why I chose her. Now, I do appreciate the patience that you guys have had with me because I know it's been a while since I posted any videos, and I'll catch you up on what's going on, but I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I want my channel to be is pretty much what's going on here, because I was known for witchcraft and for my shadow goddess deck for so long that it drew away from my artwork, which was originally why I wanted to make the deck, is so that I could share my artwork with people in like a little compact form. But it turned into more of a witchcraft kind of a channel. And I wanted to deviate away from that because it isn't necessarily who I am. Yes, I love witchcraft, and yes, I love Halloween, but I want to focus more on my artwork because that's what I want my career to be. And so this is a really good way to segue into that. And by putting her on a sketchbook so I can use it and carry it around with me and remember where everything started. So I really do appreciate your guys' patience with that. And I appreciate you still being around. If you're new here, welcome. Hi, my name is Anchora Rose. And I previously have done Halloween videos and witchcraft videos in the past, which I will still continue to do, but I want to incorporate a little bit more of my artwork as well. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, go ahead and hit the big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below and leave a comment on what your favorite goddess is. If you haven't seen them, I'll also leave a link down below in my link of wonders to my TikTok, where it shows a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, and you can pick your favorite from there as well, because I would definitely love to hear from you guys. So again, thank you so much, and until next time, bye.